Hello, everybody, and welcome. We are here in the final show match here in week 3. We have NA's second series of the weekend between Brain Cells MIA and Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. Well, the jury's still out on that one, but the jury isn't out on who my co-caster is. Meowing Cat, say hello to the lovely people.
Hello, I am looking forward to this match. I hope that we will see some people get fed and not just from Taco Bell.
Hopefully, yes, and I'm looking forward to seeing some strategy that isn't just death ball. That's something that I'm hoping we have evolved past not only as a community, but as a species as a whole. However, I know the moment I go back into solo queue, it will be 5v5 mid from 20 minutes to 50. We see 3 bands coming out so far, Gangplank, Zoe, and Gnar. Nothing too surprising here. Gangplank and Gnar, highly contested in the top lane. And just great split pushers. Zoe, annoying to play against. And then this is Wani Ban. I'm sorry, Meowing Cat. I know I totally just kind of stole your job a little bit, but I was just so excited.
No, there is no jobs here as we do not get paid from learning fives. So, final ban after that, Leona rounding out the bans for Brain Cells Mia, and Taco Bell getting the Kog'Maw ban. So, overall, a lot of mixed bans here. Target bans were not allowed to the best of my knowledge, and so they're bans. I don't know. It's interesting to see that the Nunu wasn't banned. Other things like the Tristana were left up. Just a lot of the bans are very kind of scattered. I feel no real focus in them, but
I like the first 3. The rest of them are kind of. I think they're going more for power.
I think the Kog'Maw ban is decent. I think he's a very strong power pick, especially with the right composition built around him. And so taking him off the table is smart, I feel. But a lot of this stuff just felt like, solo queue. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree on that front, but I'm not too big of a fan of the way that Brain Cells Mia is drafting at this point. Because on the red side for Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food, henceforth referred to as Taco Bell. They have a lot of get on them, pull them out, and isolate them. You have the Shen Shadow Dash Flash combo. You have the Skarner's ultimate. Now you have Orianna Shockwave, which doesn't quite follow that. But I think what you'd want to do with a composition like that is draft a lot of slows or long range CCs so that you can sort of kite them out and prevent that heavy engage and sort of neuter any threat they may have. Because Skarner without a Flash ultimate is just a wall of health and free gold.
Yeah, well, the problem with Skarner is that he's really tanky as well as having a lot of CC, and even if you get Skarner's flash down, if he has Spellbook or if he has Predator, he still has another way in that fight, whether it's Spellbook just coming up sooner with that flash. He could even switch to Ghost if he wants at that point. And so we have to watch out how that's going to go. But something to mention is there's an Orianna Shen, which is kind of an interesting wombo combo where you have the Shen taunt into the Orianna ulti, and that's going to kind of bring targets closer and kind of suck them towards the center of that Orianna ult, which will allow Skarner to get a multiple person E possibly into the ultimate. So there is potential for a lot of CC on the side of Taco Bell, but a quirky ADC pick coming out, that's something we haven't seen in a long time.
And there's good reason for that. Corki is strong in the mid lane. That's an important qualifier here, because in the bot lane, he does mostly magical damage and requires to play around the package passive, which is much more suited to a roaming lane like mid. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to work well, and they all are AP on this team, as it would turn out at this point, unless Shen goes heavily into Titanic Hydra damage. But even then, what are your thoughts on this Corki pickup?
Yeah, so Shen and Skarner will be doing some mixed damage. Shen does sometimes grab the Titanic Hydra, which will add to that physical. And Skarner, his Q and autos will be doing physical damage. So he's primarily physical, although he does have some decent magic damage as well. But it is interesting to see how heavily they're dipping into that magic damage. I mean, looking at that team, an adaptive helm is almost certainly going to be picked up by, the Yorick and the Vi. And if not, at the very least, they're going to be grabbing Merc Treads to reduce some of that CC. Or Tabby's is okay to deal with Corki, but there's so little physical damage that it's not worth it. So Merc Treads are going to be very strong against that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if
So,
they'll have enough AD damage because, as you said, the adaptive helm is going to be incredibly powerful. Corky's missile barrage, his Gatling gun, both reduced by it. Oriana's spells are on a fairly low cooldown, so even they'll be threatened by it.
yeah, and I want to turn the attention back to that top lane. So there's the Yorick versus Shen matchup, and now obviously Shen will have very good value in these team fights. Yorick is not at all a team fighter, and Shen's ulti to immediately join up with his team is extremely valuable. But the thing is, if Shen ultis away from a side lane, that'll allow Yorick to freely split push. And so if Shen joins his team and they don't win a fight afterwards, that will mean Arcane 93 can just split push crazy on this Yorick. And even if, they get 1 or 2 kills from a fight, it might not be worth it if you leave this Yorick in a side lane for too long.
Yeah, that's one of the concerns, and the team composition for Brain Cells Mia is a classic sort of split and pick composition where you have Yorick able to solo in the top lane. Perhaps you could even send Malzahar bot lane for a 1-3-1, but Vi and Alistar and Malzahar as well are very good at finding one target and making sure they go nowhere very quickly. And Lucian has a lot of early bursts. I don't know if he'll be going the lethality build. I suspect he'll be going more to see Crazy Braze on Vi focusing on the bottom lane to try and get a lead for Lucian, to try and open up the map a little bit so that he doesn't have to worry as much about the non-Yorick lane and the non-Malzahar lane, because those two are going to be really integral to how this team is going to be playing the late game.
Yeah, and that bottom lane, I mean, it really is something that you kind of have to pay attention to in the early game. Alistar Lucian versus Janna Corki, there is a definite power advantage in that early game for the Lucian Alistar. And if Alistar flash pulverizes and then headbutts the Janna in, she has almost no defenses against that Lucian. And so we could see some very heavy aggression in that bottom lane.
Well, we'll see how that aggression pays out. We'll see if there's a lot of early game skirmishes or whatnot in a few minutes here as we go into game. Stick around. Hello, hello, welcome back. We are here in game of the final show match of the weekend of week 3 here. My name is still Nibiria. I'm still joined by Meowing Cat, but before we talk about anything else, let's introduce the teams. On the blue side, we have Brain Cells Mia with Arcane 93 in the top lane, Crazy Braze on that jungle Vi, Fevy Flames on the mid lane, Bartholomew Cow Oh my goodness, that was hard for me to say. On AD carry, Yarnell on Alistar support.
Yeah, and on the red side, we have Taco Bell as authentic Mexican food, with King Ebolt in the top lane, Deconstruct in the jungle, Anthology in the mid lane, Roasty My Toasty 42 in the AD carry position, and SKT T1 Nami as support.
Now,
And I
it's
love that
interesting
team
that someone
name.
named Nami is not playing Nami, but
Yeah, Nami wasn't banned either, to my knowledge. Yeah, she was up. So
and as you have shown, Mr. Number One Nami in NA,
I
she's
think
pretty
I'm like number
busted.
2.
Oh, you've been demoted? All right, get out of it.
All right.
No longer has any relevance to the cast. I'm sorry. Nothing too exciting coming out here in the level ones. Unfortunately, our spectator client is not equipped with that next level technology of showing us the keystones in game, but
Yeah,
we'll figure
however,
them
we
out as
can
we
find it
go.
externally, which does show that we have a press the attack Lucian, which is kind of expected, but an electrocute Vi definitely opting into more damage heavy burst ganks.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bit interesting, and it is the spellbook Skarner, so he will be able to flash more frequently, as well as swap to Ghost if he wants to. Or, I mean, I've seen some Skarners just get rid of Smite when there's no objectives up. You know? If you know that there's no Baron for another 4 minutes, no Dragon for another 8 minutes, you can just grab that Ghost and just go crazy.
Mm-hmm. I'd actually like to see that. I was considering that in Champion Select. Interesting thing to note here, I've studied up on this because I didn't get it at first. Minion Dematerializer in the mid lane. Look, listen, here's why this is good. It lets you push and get lane priority, and that's all the rage these days, I hear. All the kids are talking about lane priority at their school lunches, and that's what's so important to them. It also makes wave clear easier with the backlines from that command dissonance from Orianna, and engage in the bottom lane. Roasty My Toasty getting ignited and having to blow exhaust from SKT T1 Nami, already fighting. This is my kind of game.
Yeah, and we mentioned that Alistar will be a very aggressive in this bottom lane. It is all up to SKTT1 Nami to counter this as a Janna. She has to get really good tornadoes
Oh, geez,
in response,
another
but that's not
pulverized
happening.
headbutt combo. Whew. Yarnell, come on, man. Gank in the mid lane, Anthology not quite going to fall.
Yeah, that is a lot of damage onto that Orianna, and that is mostly due to the Vi proccing that electrocute, which does a lot of damage in this early game. Now, Vi's keystones have been kind of changing around what you take on her. You see a lot of...
Ooh.
Oh.
Engage here in the upper side of River. It looks like Arcane trying to get the assist there. Crazy Blaze flashing after Deconstruct, but Deconstruct is going to get out thanks to that Spire of his. Will Crazy Blaze have the Vault Breaker up in time? Not going to go for it. Probably the smarter decision there.
Yeah. But I mean, Vi is not a champion that's super popular in the higher elo scene, and so, you know, it's kind of like there's not too many resources on how to properly play her. Most of the time, you do see people take electrocute on her. However, oh my.
Flash headbutt pulverize. Good lord, Liarnell, give us a second here. Stun, not going to go down from that trample. Liarnell might fall here. Heal going out. Liarnell is incredibly low, but directed camera does not care. As it shouldn't, because he's fine. SKT T1
Yeah.
Nami, however, taking some return poke by Bartholomew Cow, just 1v2ing without his own cow.
Yeah, and I mean, this cow bot lane is pretty aggressive, but made a slight misplay. Liarnil just headbutted Corki into the wall more so than towards the Lucian, and that just meant that Roast My Toasty just flew away in his rocket.
And we saw a little bit of miscommunication between the laners because at that point, Bartholomew Cow had already engaged on Liarnell. So gank coming out here from Crazy Braze, a flash already burned from King Ebolt. So no matter what happens here, successful gank.
Yeah, and so you were talking about the minion dematerializer as well. Some supports have even started taking it just to get that lane priority, that shove in. You know, if they have a relic shield, they can just give the CS to their ADC, and so they'll just use it to push in faster, or to get possibly like a level power spike. Normally, you can't get it before level 2, so it's normally for a level 3 power spike or so that you want to use that shove in. But we are seeing it taken a little bit more, especially since it doesn't share a category with stopwatch. It makes it a pretty, you know, relevant option to have.
Just the 4% from getting each one of the types of the minions, and then from there, you can just kind of use it however you want. Ooh, getting him trapped in there, but Spirit's actually pretty powerful against auto attacks.
Yeah, And so we see this Yorick is almost out of mana. He does have a refillable potion, but you really have to be careful when you're against a manaless champion like a Shen. Because if he's able to get his energy returns from those Q auto attacks, that means that he's going to be able to just keep on sustaining up that resource while you as a Yorick have a finite mana pool and can't spam nearly as much as him. And so you really got to manage it carefully.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see a little bit more in the top lane in the coming minutes and levels, because I think this will be a really important thing to play around for both junglers. And we saw a little bit of focus so far from Crazy Braze, but not so much from Deconstruct. We haven't really seen him around the map more than in that jungle skirmish on the top side. So I'm wondering if he's just trying to power farm to 6, which I think is the most likely reason, or if he just doesn't think he can get off a gank.
Yeah. And I want to turn our attention back to the bot lane. This is something I mentioned in EU Showmatch for today. Janna going for the coin. Janna was changed quite a while ago, and with her changes, she got a lot of extra auto attack range, and her W does a considerable amount of damage. I have highly advocated going for Spell Thieves, and it is what almost every Janna player does. And against a Lucian Alistar, you're against a melee matchup support, which he can play aggressively. But against Lucian, as a Janna, you actually outrange Lucian. So if you have Spell Thieves, you can auto him without him being able to auto you back and just get free Spell Thieves procs. Lucian, one of the shortest range ADCs, and not taking that and abusing it here with that Spell Thieves is 1, losing out on damage, and 2, losing out on more gold. Oh, look at this jungle invade though from Deconstruct.
The greedy invade here. He has flash back up, so he might choose to use it. Oh, Stand United coming out from King Ebalt. Deconstruct about to fall. Not quite, though. King Ebalt in trouble. Nethergrass gonna fall down onto him, and he will follow. First blood going to Arcane 93.
Yeah, Deconstruct going for a very aggressive invade there. I mean, with no vision of the enemy jungler, no idea where he's pathing, you can't know where he is, and then just going for an invade blind like that, you get caught out. When you're going for the wolves all the way in that jungle, you have to walk a long distance to get out of that jungle. And when you're cut off by a mid laner and top laner, there's almost 0 ways out, except if your top laner suicides for you. And so just completely disrespecting the side of excuse me, completely disrespecting brain cells Mia. Just when they're Mia is not something you can do. Yeah, and I mean, that's a pretty big kill for the Yorick. You know, already 10 CS up, 500 gold lead in this top lane. That's pretty much the entire gold difference between these two teams. And that's going to allow this Yorick to become even more oppressive in that split push. And so once he starts getting those items, you see the sheen already. He's going to melt these towers. So I mean, hopefully we can see some ganks come out to kind of make up for that. We do look like we're seeing something in the mid lane coming up. Deconstruct walking up. Does have the Impale, but no flash to follow up with it. So just going to leave that Malzahar to be.
Yeah, Malzahar incredibly safe in this middle lane with his passive ability to basically ignore CC for 1 or 2 hits. Really nice to prevent ganks, especially from someone slower like Skarner, as we see a little bit of engage going on the mid lane. I expect that Crazy Braze is about to get ulted here. He does get impaled. Teleport coming in. Shockwave going wide. This might be a turnable fight. Great ultimate there from Crazy Braze. Not going to be able to make it out quite yet. Deconstruct getting flashed on, getting a little bit low here, but King Ebalt missing the flash shadow dash, and it's a bad fight suddenly for Brain Cells Mia. Arcane 93 trying to take him out, not quite able to. Deconstruct surviving with just a single health, finally falling down. Fevy Flame starts with the Nethergrass. He gets 2. Good lord.
The Raptor! The hero Raptor! He saved the play. It was going to be an 1 for 2, and Deconstruct was almost about to live there. But taken out by that Raptor, it means that Fevy Flames gets the second kill onto Anthology, and Arcane picks up a kill in that top lane, allowing York to get even more gold in this matchup against the Shen.
Yeah, 2-1-0 with the Sheen means he's got some split push pressure already. Looks like he's heading towards a Hex Drinker, which I'm not sure how I feel about, honestly, but you know what? As long as he's using the gold, or perhaps it's Phage and Merc Treads, which I think would be a better choice.
Yeah, I mean, It looks like that's gonna be the case for this top lane matchup. I mean, going for that Triforce is pretty good. A lot of Triforce components there. We see Phage component as well as Zeal, or sorry, Stinger component, I believe is the name of that item. I hardly build it, but it's the least loved of this the Triforce items too. No one likes a Stinger. It's just, attack speed CDR. Kale likes it,
Nature's Tooth,
but Kale
Nami,
can
come
do
on, man.
anything.
You have that E. It's so perfect for it. Crazy Braze positioning around the dragon. This looks like it might be another fight about to break out. 4 people on both sides in this bottom side of the map. No, they're not going to go for it. Oh, Crazy Braze going in just as the Spire turns. This is going to be a really bad fight very quickly. Crazy Braze just below half at this point. Can't fight Deconstruct. Stand United coming out as well. Crazy Braze getting impaled here. Yarnell, you're in trouble now. He's tried to save his jungler, but not quite able to, and he's going to die for it. Looks like Dragon will be the goal here as Arcane tries to get this top tower. Teleport from Shen. Oh, Shadow Dash. Nice one. Arcane 93 might die to the tower. Oh, no. Dude, just auto the tower. You're dead.
Yeah, and I mean, at that point, you gotta just whack away that tower. You're not making it out of that tower
Febby?
range alive.
Febby, hello?
No. He just stole an
Deconstructor.
Infernal.
Did your D bucket button break, buddy? Oh my god.
Deconstruct, missing the smite completely. No smite contention. You've got to go for a secure, safe smite. There's no excuse for missing that. There's no reason that 540 damage can't beat out the 100 from a Malzahar Q. The 170, if we're being precise.
Well then, that was a great play from Febby. But it was just mostly off the back of Deconstruct, not thinking he needed to smite. Assured that he was going to get it, perhaps wanting to save that smite cooldown for a gank or something, but it just goes to show if you're not 110% sure that nobody can contest that dragon from you, smite it.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go for that exact, okay, my smite does 540 damage, smite exactly then. Smite it at 400. You are perfectly fine to do that. No one is going to judge you for playing it safe. And, I mean, I don't know if he smited at all. I didn't quite catch it. But that's just a complete misplay in every possible way. At the very least, drag it out if you don't have smite. But I believe smite was up as I checked, and it was up when that happened, so...
Little bit of an unfortunate play. Taco Bell struggling here with not only their cuisine and its authenticity, but its jungling. So, hopefully the security coming up down the line. Ooh, Arcane 93 trying to go for this fight here. I think he's going to try and take the 1v2. He does not have ultimate for another few seconds, so he's going to try and run this out as Crazy Braze comes in with a Vault Breaker onto Kingy Vault. Kingy Vault getting pretty low. Shadow Dash going to come out to get himself out. The ultimate from Vi has been blown. Deconstruct getting chilling smited, and it looks like he was going for the Impale, but not quite able to. He flashes out, but not in time. Arcane 93 getting the kill, and it looks like this will be the first tower of the game going down for Brain Cells Mia.
Yeah, you said he flashed out, but he actually flashed in right into the Yorick W. No way away from that dark procession? That is a horrible name for an ability, but you cannot get out of that Yorick wall when you flash into it, and that's exactly what we saw right there.
Miss Walker doing its job in the top lane here. Already 2 towers taken off that play. Not going to be a third, but it could be a Rift Herald.
Yeah, we see them walking through the jungle. I'd like to see Vi dropping some wards here. She has both of her trinket charges up, not warding when walking through the enemy jungle. Okay, there we do see 1 ward there. I would have liked maybe another deep ward, but 1 out of 2 isn't bad. We get something.
Well, ideally you want to place it deeper because that's somewhere you're not going to be able to get very often, especially in a game where you're against the Skarner, which you can no longer 1v1 while he has his Spires. So getting that deep ward around, say, red would have been a lot more effective because you can get that ward behind red almost any time. Doesn't matter though. Rift Herald going down in favor of Brain Cells Mia. Great play in the top lane, translating to what's pretty soon to be some map damage.
Yeah, look at this Vi in the mid lane though.
Going in with the Vault Breaker, going a little bit wide.
Yeah, that ulti's still on cooldown. About 5 more seconds. That's some impatience.
That said, is a little bit of pressure. Oh no. Crazy Braze is fine. Absolutely fine. Never mind. Whoo! Special delivery coming out. I was a little bit spooked there. I thought there was going to be a bigger fight, but Corky just saying hi. What's up, Vi? How are you? I no longer have my passive.
Yeah,
It's
I
good to
mean,
communicate, generally with your teammates, but sometimes with the enemy.
oh,
A little bit of a
okay.
scrap going down in the top lane. Arcane 93 on the losing end of that, fairly certainly. For now, at
Yeah.
least. Oh, getting that dark procession onto him. And it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, this grasp on the Shen is getting a lot of damage onto that Yorick.
Oh, Arcane 93 in a lot of trouble here. Or not any at all.
He has the flash up, so he should be able to escape the Shen, unless a taunt comes out after another
Oh.
auto attack. But even that should be flashed away from.
Shadow Dash getting shorted a little bit there. Deconstruct getting caught on a control ward. That is not where you want to be, buddy. Yarnell looking for a knock-up. He's going to get the stun with Trample, Assault, and Battery coming out as well, as is the culling. 3 ultimates burn. SKT T1 Nami falling. King Ebolt in the top lane might follow here with a Mistwalker and the Ghouls. He gets dunked by Arcane 93. 4-2-1 Yorick looking to regain dominance of this top lane.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what this lane is going to become more and more so in favor of Arcane 93. However, King Ebolt does have some counterplay to this Yorick, as he does have that Spirit's Refuge, which will block a lot of damage from that Yorick and his ghouls, since it is all auto-based. And if he gets a a Titanic Hydra, which it looks like he's building towards with that double longsword, he should be doing a lot of damage to this Yorick too, who wants to primarily itemize magic resistance because that is the primary damage source of the enemy team.
Now, what I'm concerned about here from Brainstills Mia, they're playing very well around the top lane, but I think Arcane 93 should start rotating into another lane to not waste this Eye of the Herald. At the moment, though, it looks like they are actually rotating mid, so well done there, ladies and gentlemen. They're preempting my strategic criticism. I like it.
And something I want to mention really fast is Alistar itemizing towards those ninja tabbies, I think is a little bit odd. I'm not a huge fan of it. And if we're just gonna go all in on this Alistar really fast, he did opt into taking Second Wind, which isn't bad against damaged lanes, right? You know, Janna's gonna be poking a lot with autos, as well as Corky trying to get a lot of chip damage in. But Revitalize is also very nice for Alistar because of the healing on his passive. For his teammate as well, it's nice to take that. And he opted into... You know, we're going to have to put that on hold. Cloud Drake, that's being taken.
Yeah, Cloud Drake and a very suspect Herald. I guess it secured the dragon. There's no way it's going to get any damage.
Oh, no, it should be able to be taxied in. They're going to walk with it, and they might get a whole tower from it, potentially.
They have pressure. There's 2 people in the side lanes. For Taco Bell here, the first tower has gone down. Looks like Rift Herald is soon going to follow. Great engage coming in there from Liarnal. SKT T1 Nami having to blow Monsoon. Nethergrass blown on her as well. That's going to be a problem if they want to keep this fight going. But actually, it doesn't look like it's going to be Assault and Battery going down onto Deconstruct. I don't think that was the right target. Deconstruct barely staying alive thanks to that Stand United. A great taunt from King Ebolt, but it's not going to be enough. He's about to fall, staying alive for longer than he has any right to. Bartholomew getting the final kill onto Anthology, and everyone in that team fight has died for Taco Bell.
Yeah, and during that...
terrible fight for them, and they might lose the tower for it as well.
Yeah, it looks like they will possibly get a second turret here. And that's really good value from that Rift Herald. During that whole fight, they had that Rift Herald just whacking away at the turret. And they couldn't answer to it because they just lose the fight. So, I mean, while yes, you are fighting under a turret and eating turret shots, it's also allowing this Rift Herald to get free damage in while you're doing that. And they were even able to get some damage on the second turret with that Rift Herald. And that gives a lot of gold over to the side of, again, Brain Cells Mia. But now with a 6k gold lead, you know, hopefully we see them turn their attention up to the top side of the map, where that Baron is still alive. I mean, no bottom side objectives means that this should be where they're turning their attention to.
Yeah, I mean, I think there could be a little more communication in these team fights in terms of ultimate focus targets, but it went overall pretty well, and they've opened up the map at this point, so I'm would you expect a Baron play here?
Yeah, it is 20 minutes, so Baron is very risky to do, but you do want to make sure that you're keeping up vision control of that area, and you are keeping your team in a position to do it. You know, say if you guys make a pick or something. Now, having your team in or your bottom lane down bottom means that it's really not a viable objective. And
Uh-oh.
oh,
A little bit of a chase there in the jungle. Crazy Braze only taking a half health. No ultimates blown on that just yet. Deconstruct in a little bit of trouble, getting caught out once again. Nethergrasp going to go down. Not going to need the trample from the Arnold, who was trying to chase onto SKT T1 Nami. Speedy Wind Lady going to get away from the small, large cow.
yeah, Corki does have package up.
Probably going to
Might
use that special delivery for wave clear, and he does, stopping that huge wave that Arcane 93 had been building up. Unfortunate for Arcane, but that is pretty much a waste of a package in terms of its combat effectiveness. So
and
perhaps
something I
we'll
want to
see it
mention.
turn into a fight.
Speaking of Arcane 93, he's up in this top lane, and he might get a pick onto King Ebolt here. We have to watch out for that. I don't like that Yorick is up here though. I want him in the bottom lane with that teleport split pushing.
King Ebolt shoes. He is juking left and right, but there's 3 people up here in the top lane, and King Ebolt is certainly falling for this. Will they try and turn this into a push, or will they turn it into another objective or something? Because there really is no need to have all 3 up there unless you're going to turn it into something.
Yeah, and the thing is, they can't really because their bottom lane is still in that bottom side of the map. If they had that bot lane up in the top side, and they had Yorick, say, in that bottom lane making a play like that, then they could possibly do something. But it is not viable at this point in time.
Deconstruct possibly in a little bit of trouble here. Stun going down onto Crazy Braze. Crazy Braze going to have to get out before Anthology, and oh, the shockwave going wide onto Crazy Braze, and Anthology is getting popped here. Deconstruct first one to fall instead. Anthology immediately thereafter, and it's now 3 people still in the top lane. This play has worked out for them, and it really shouldn't have. I just... It's hard to express exactly how I feel about this, but not great. Crazy Braze getting Shadow dashed on, and looks like he'll be able to escape the Monsoon, saving him. Oh no. Arcane 93 going to try the 2v1 here. He does have the Maiden of the Mist with him, so might be able to get a little bit done. He's chasing onto the Janna, which I don't think is the right decision. Just fight the Shen. Gets her in the Dark Procession, but she walks over the wall. Crazy Braze going in, getting the shield from the passive through Vault Breaker, and that fight could have gone so much better for Brain Cells Mia.
Yeah.
If they had just prioritized targets better, because yes, the Janna's squishy, but she's Janna and you're Yorick.
Yeah, and I mean, but still, at this point, even with, you know, Brain Cells Mia possibly making a misplay, Taco Bell, you know, is so far behind that what are they really able to do at this point? So, looking at this and trying to assess what they need to do, Cloud Drake spawning in about a minute or so, not really the primary objective. And, you know, with the Skarner, with the Orianna and Shen, you can make a decent pick as long as it's not someone who's too tanky and as long as you know that they are alone. Alistar is not a viable pick target, so it really needs to be, you know, Malzahar, Vi, or the Lucian as the primary targets. And if they're grouped together, it will be really hard to do that. So you need to just keep your eyes out for an opportunity where Skarner can get that that impale onto one of his targets.
Yeah, realistically at this point, I don't see pick as much of an option the way Brain Cells Mia is playing. So I think Taco Bell are just going to have to wait for a misplay at this point if they want to get that kind of pick down, which is what their composition specializes in. They do have a little bit of team fighting with the AoE from Missile Barrage and Shockwave and Command Dissonance, and basically just Orianna is their AoE. But
yeah, Shen really? Too. Shen can get a multi-person taunt, which could possibly turn the tides of a fight. But at this point, they're a little too far behind in gold with the 10k difference.
Oh, Yorick's ultimate going 1v4, living for a little bit longer than I'm sure Taco Bell would like.
Yeah, but it is a little strange to see Yorick just drop that ulti in that mid lane. Instead of just, you know, using it traditionally in the side lanes as you're used to seeing from Yorick. Now, I'm still wondering why RK93 isn't in this bottom lane split pushing, because that's kind of Yorick's job. You know?
A lot of
Split
times
push.
we'll see this. We saw this last night as well, you'll remember, where you have a strong split pusher, but they don't split because you think it's time to fight. Well, really, if you have a strong split pusher, that's the best time to split push
Yeah,
because
I
they
mean,
need to send more to stop him.
yeah, this Yorick would probably be unstoppable by a single person. It would take at least two people, if not more, to stop him. And so if you could draw that pressure away, your team could potentially do a Baron, or if they don't send that many people to deal with you, you either get kills or get turrets, which is not bad by any means. And so because they're not doing that, we're seeing a slowdown in this game pace right now.
This is a
With all
very
those
good.
inhib turrets still left up, there's no real openings for them to take,
I
except if
was
they were
just
to
saying.
execute a split push.
Deconstruct impaling Crazy Braze, but that is on a scale of sober to GTA death scene. That was a pretty wasted ult.
Yeah. I mean,
That was just like terrible. I hate to
Roasty
say.
My Toasty
Oh, Crazy
wasn't.
Braze.
Oh.
Another engage. He's 1v4. Talk about a pick. They may have finally gotten the stun going down. Special delivery going to be enough to stop any re-engage there. Crazy Braze
Yeah.
living up a little bit too much to his name.
And that's kind of what we need to see a few more times. At this point, they do now have the numbers advantage, so possibly looking for a 5v4. I think Baron would be a little bit ambitious and a little risky, still considering the goal difference between these two teams. They can maybe turn their attention towards that mid turret, though, as the wave clear is only the Malzahar at this point. Oh, Lucian does have a bit too, so they'll have to see, but they definitely need to react to these side lanes, as there's a giant wave in the top lane, and there is a Yorick split pushing down in the bottom lane finally.
Looks like they're going to, but the game, as you said earlier, has kind of stalled out at this point. Vi starting to have to build defensively. Looks like the Dead Man's Plate is going to be the choice there, as is Yorick, looking for what looks like Adaptive Helm. So, good call there, I'd say.
Yeah, we mentioned how valuable Adaptive Helm would be into that Orianna as well as the Corki. Because of that repetitive magic damage, because of Orianna's low cooldowns, and the Corki having the Missile Barrage as well as his E that is going to apply that, it's a very valuable pickup to have.
Mm-hmm. So looking at the gold lead, Brain Cells Mia is 8k ahead, while we see a not engage in the jungle. Okay, good. 8k ahead, 3 dragons up, 5 towers up. There are no outer towers left for Taco Bell. What should they be doing to bring home this lead? I assume something around Baron, or baiting Taco Bell into taking Baron, because that's really the big objective on the map at this point. And you need a big swing to be able to push up into the base. How should they execute this?
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, Brain Cells Mia just needs to kind of make a pick, because that's what their comp is built to do. With the Vi, with the Malzahar, they can make picks. And since they are in the lead, they can group together, get that vision control, and strangle out the vision of Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. And because if they do that,
Oh. Shadow Dash and Vault Breaker traded Assault and Battery. I think that's a little bit much. Nether Grasp, you've blown 2 ultimates and a flash for this. I don't think that's the right play. Kingy Bolt is going to get out. It looks like Deconstruct trying to chase it out. The Arnold just soloing Anthology at this point. Wow, Bartholomew Cow has a lot more damage than I thought. Impale going down onto Crazy Braze. Crazy Braze getting out with the Vault Breaker. SKT T1 Nami using that Monsoon right in the face of everyone else. Roasty My Toasty falling as well. It looks like it's going to be 4 for none so far. Quadra kill for Bartholomew Cow. Is he going to get the Penta? He's going to get it! Bartholomew Cow with the Penta kill to end the game. The bottom inhibitor is going to be taken here by Arcane93. The top lane inhibitor going to be taken by the rest of his team. No one will be up for the next 20 seconds. There's no way that they do not have this game in the bag unless they try to showboat it, but they're smart. They're not showboating at all. They're shoving it straight down. Maiden of the Mist, pumping out that damage as much as she can, and it's finally going to be the game in 30 minutes. Brain Cells Mia taking it over. Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. What a game.
yeah, and we see the pentakill come out for that Lucian. Bartholomew Cow showing up amazingly in that last fight. he wasn't really showing that much, value in the rest of the game. He was kind of just there. He was adding some damage to fights here and there. But then we see him come out in this last fight and clean it up completely, playing so aggressively, but knowing his limits and executing upon them perfectly.
Just popping people left and right. You love to see that, and I will be the first one to make fun of Lucian in the current meta. Second worst ADC now, ladies and gentlemen. Finally surpassed by Jhin.
Yeah,
But
and I mean,
that
even with how, low Lucian is in, the meta for AD carries, still performing extremely well on him shows comfort over meta does often make a difference.
Yeah, and it's an important point to make, and Corki just not quite able to keep him down. Janna not able to use that Howling Gale to keep Alistar off. Great game there from Brain Cells Mia, and we'll hope to see another great one in game 2.
Fragments of time lay dormant in my mind, and what's left behind is a journal signed. Pieces of hope are written on paper, a familiar sight, a certain skyscraper. Fragments of time lay dormant in my mind, and what's left behind is a journal signed. Pieces of hope are written on paper, a familiar sight, a certain skyscraper. I must have been here some point in the past. Familiar shapes and sounds at last. The smoke and lights, the crowds amassed. The moon behind skies overcast. I must have been here some point in the past. Familiar shapes and sounds at last. The smoke and lights, the crowds amassed. The moon behind skies overcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are here in game 2 between Brain Cells Mia and Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. I'm still Nibiria. I'm still joined by Meowing Cat. The teams have switched sides, but they've not switched their spirits. That was stupid.
Yes.
Gangplank ban.
Yeah, we saw the Gangplank ban in the first game by Taco Bell's again, so we just seeing them kind of doubling down on that. They feel that Gangplank is too much to deal with, and maybe they feel that Arcane is too good at the Gangplank. I don't know his champion pool, personally. I didn't think there was target bans for the first game, but I might be mistaken. We see the Yorick ban, though, which is strange because they switch sides, so...
Right.
That is banning out your own champion at this point.
Interesting strategy. They banned out 2 of their own champions.
Maybe they're trying to handicap themselves.
Are they sort of playing like one of those 3v3 game modes in Overwatch where it's like once you win on a team, you can't play it anymore? But they're just like banning it out to make doubly
They banned
fair?
out their Malzahar too. That's actually what they're doing.
Last game.
They are literally saying, we don't need a single ban. We are going to win with no bans. That's actually what they're doing. This is disgustingly BM.
I love it. This is what I like to see. They're gonna, if they fail spectacularly, like they'll deserve it, but it'll be funny.
And
So-
if you look at this, they actually counterpicked Darius into Shen. I'm checking the pro draft. This is a counterpick. They see the Shen and they're like, we'll match that with a Darius. Like, he can block auto attacks. Darius likes to auto attack, but you pick Darius. This is one of the ballsiest things I've ever seen, or one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Why can't
Their brain cells are Mia, or their respect is Mia. I can't tell. Maybe both.
This is cool. They're totally gonna get crushed. Like Lux into Zac Vagar, Shen does not sound like fun to me.
Yeah, and playing Darius into a Vagar or Shen does not sound fun to me either.
Jarvan's he's pretty good.
Yeah, Jarvan, decent champion normally, but again, into a Vagar who can just drop that baby cage. Makes you want to baby rage a little bit. I mean, I don't...
Ooh.
I'm at a loss for words. I can't analyze this because there's nothing to analyze. They just completely dropped everything except the Alistar ban. They didn't do that. They did a Rammus ban.
Because they couldn't. It got banned by Taco Bell. So
yeah,
they banned Rammus
they
instead.
were just like, Rammus.
Vayne. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say this comp doesn't make very much sense. Okay.
It really looks like what you get in your promos for solo queue.
I wouldn't know what that looks like.
But I mean, if we look at
sure does.
Mexican Taco Bell, they have a pretty decent composition with the Protect the Kog'Maw. They have a front line with that Zac Shen. They have the Shen ulti to protect the Kog'Maw. They have a Janna to protect the Kog'Maw. And then they have a secondary AP threat on that Vagar. The only problem I see with their composition is the same problem that they had last game, where they are too AP heavy. I mean, again, same issue. AP jungler, AP mid laner, AP, ADC. Kog'Maw does do some physical damage, especially, depending on his itemization, but a lot of magic damage means that this Jarvan could just stack a lot of MR and become very hard to kill.
Yeah, Jarvan, if he just gets Randuin's and Adaptive Helm and Ninja Tabby, that's a lot of Kog'Maw's damage shut down, gives him a lot of slow from the Randuin's. Ninja Tabby would really only be useful against Kog'Maw, but Kog'Maw is so much of their damage that I'd almost say it's worth it. Or he could go more of the support build with a Locket and Knight's Vow, something like that. We'll have to see how that develops. But the Nami pick I like especially because the enemy support's name is SKT-T1 Nami, so I think it's another layer of BM. And I think that's just sort of the entire comp here for Brain Cells Mia. It has a little bit of synergy in that you can have a Nami ultimate inside the Jarvan Cataclysm and maybe Lux Lucent Singularity and Final
You know what I
Spark.
will say? Their composition is really good at getting kills.
That it is, and they showed they know what to do with them last game.
Yeah, and I mean, with if you look at this composition, you have a Darius and a Lux who both need to get kills to get their full potential from their ultimates. Darius wants to be resetting with that ulti. Lux, she wants to hit a final spark to finish off a kill. That way her ulti comes back sooner. And so you're gonna be seeing them basically fighting their own team for those resets for their kills, or for their ultis, but it might work out because Kog'Maw, Janna, Veigar are all fairly squishy and very immobile. You do have a Shen with the ulti, the Stand United, to protect them, but against all of that damage, plus the Darius that can cancel that ulti with the Apprehend, they might be able to make it work, as crazy as it sounds.
I mean, we saw them make Lucian 80 carry work last game, and I was so convinced that that just couldn't happen. So I wouldn't put it past them, but let's look at the other side of things. Taco Bell's authentic Mexican food has a really great team fighting composition here. You have the long range engage from Elastic Slingshot from Zac. You have the Stand United onto Zac if you want to get really fancy into the Shadow Dash combo in order to get that huge taunt and then maybe a knockback from Zac into the team. You have a lot of options. Veigar does a lot of damage with his W and his Q and his ultimate. He's just a big rolling ball of damage. And so is Kog'Maw. Janna enables that with her Eye of the Storm and just the ability to peel almost anyone off of that Kog'Maw. So they have really strong team fighting, but the thing is, they have to survive the early game, and that's where Brain Cells Mia is going to want to do most of their dirty work. I expect Deconstruct to be going to gank mid early game because Lux has no escapes other than Flash.
Yeah,
My only
and I
prediction
mean,
for this game.
I definitely think that this is giving Taco Bell's this authentic Mexican food a chance to bring this back to a draw. But Brain Cells Mia, I mean, I think they're looking to humiliate here, and someone's gonna be humiliated. Whether it's Brain Cells humiliating themselves or their opponents, I don't know yet.
Well, we'll see if their hubris pays off or makes them fall in the end. Come back in a few seconds and we'll be into the show match for game 2 between Brain Cells Mia and Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. Don't miss it. And we're back here in game 2 between Brain Cells Mia and Taco Bell's authentic Mexican food. I am incredibly excited for this game, Meowing Cat. I hope you're feeling the same way, but I think you are.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how this air quotes team composition from Brain Cells Mia pans out.
The Boots 4 potion start. Now, if I recall correctly, you were once a Darius player in your own right, having played it in a show match or two. What do you think about this Boots 4 potion start?
Yeah, so Darius is pretty versatile when it comes to his starting items. He can opt into almost anything and make it work. Into a Shen, you can definitely go for something more aggressive. Possibly a Doran's Blade, looking to bully out a little more. Or maybe even a refillable potion, or corruption potion. I think that's what I would prefer to see in this matchup, as that would allow him to get a lot more trading in and play a lot more aggressively in this early game. But the 4 potions does give a lot of sustain back for his healing. Although he might run into mana issues because of not going for that Corruption Potion. And Corruption Potion does add a bit of damage onto these fights. So sad to see that he opted for those boots, but it will allow him to stick very hard.
I think that
So
sort of
yeah.
does show his playstyle, though, because as you said, it does allow him to stick very hard, and he also went Phase Rush, and the two together means that you cannot get that Darius off you. So if he gets the early bleed stacks and gets that Noxian Might, that's, I think, 80 base attack damage. Maybe it scales up to that. We may see it proc even here. See, you have the move speed going there, and he just gets out for free. Shen
Yeah.
actually doing well in that trade, though, so maybe a little concern.
And you mentioned how he took Phase Rush. Everything else looking fairly standard, except the Vayne, who opts into going press the attack. Now, I'm not a huge fan of that. I mean, with the double tank on the enemy team, lethal tempo is a viable option. A lot of Vayne's damage is blocked out by the Spirit's Refuge, but the Spirit's Refuge duration is 1.75 seconds, while still, the lethal tempo takes 1.5 seconds to activate. And so it has a slight overlap, but you get the majority of its value out, ideally. And it does last up to 6 seconds, so it is still pretty decent, even if the Shen W's after your lethal tempo goes off. Or just go for the standard fleet footwork. Sustain, movement speed, really nice on Vayne.
Yeah, that is what Kaguma went for. I'm not sure what the thought is here. Maybe going for an earlier bursty cheese around level 6 where you just sort of condemn auto Q into a wall with your ultimate up and hope that the press the attack damage is enough to chase him down for the kill, but that alone shouldn't be worth taking press the attack. We'll see how it plays out. It no longer does give that bonus, if I recall correctly, on the third hit itself. So not as strong as it once was with the Silver Bolt synergy. A lot of trading going down here in the mid lane. Ooh, Fevy not popping that Lucent Singularity in time to get the damage. That was looking to be a pretty good trade, but downgraded to okay.
Yeah. And speaking of Fevy in that mid lane on that Lux, taking Minion Dematerializer is actually pretty good here because it'll allow Lux to wave clear a lot faster with her E. As soon as she gets a little bit more AP, she's going to be able to one-shot ranged minions that she otherwise wouldn't be able to clear out. So that's really going to help her clear those waves.
Ooh,
in that
Yarnell getting a little
mid-game.
bit low there. Good trades coming out from SKT T1 Nami and Roasty My Toasty. This bot lane is going to be a point of contention. I was suspecting that Fevy would be the first one to be ganked from Deconstruct, but maybe he'll be looking towards the bot lane in the coming minutes.
Yeah, well, right now, Crazy Brazy... Oh, that's a... Okay,
Ooh.
well, right now, Crazy Brazy is just full clearing the jungle, but because of that, choice to full clear the jungle, not having any HP at all, you see his health bar almost dead when he was recalling, means that he doesn't even have the opportunity to gank. If he wanted to gank or counter gank a lane, he couldn't just because of how low he was, and so probably needed to back a little bit sooner. It is good to farm your jungle, but if you can't gank, you don't even have the option to counter gank when you're when you're in the area of a gank. That's just not really worth it.
Jarvan, especially with those level 3 ganks, is very powerful with his EQ combo. It's like almost guaranteed knockup if you can land it and no one flashes it. I say that as he misses it. Never mind. Deconstruct getting slowed up by the red buff here. I don't suspect this will be a full-on fight, just proccing that electrocute. Getting a little bit of poke damage down. Not sure if that was really worth it because now electrocute is down for a full minute. So any follow-up ganks in the area will not be as powerful. Oh, Fevy, I don't like how up you're playing, buddy. Elastic Slingshot can hit you from there. See if a gank follows up.
Yeah,
Doesn't
now
look like it
Fevy
at
does
this point.
have cleanse, so if the Veigar does get the cage around that Lux, she's still gonna be able to cleanse out of it, which I really like. I think that taking the cleanse on that Lux shows a lot of respect and is very good into that opposing team, where you have the Veigar cage, where you have the Shen taunt. I don't recall if you can cleanse the first part of Zack's Q, the stretching strikes, if, when it's hit onto you, if you can break the tether. Other than that,
Very
Zack is
good
mostly
question.
knockups, so it's not going to really affect that. But it definitely does put a wrench into the Veigar Shen picks.
Hopefully we'll see it get utilized very well. I would hate to see a cleanse be taken and then off cooldown 24/7, but at this point, that's no fault of Fevi's. He just has not been pressured in this bottom lane. Gank coming in from Crazy Braze, but he misses the EQ combo once again. Perhaps some inexperience on that Jarvan pick.
Yeah.
Arcane. Gonna try and go for the junk, but no, he gets pulled under tower by the Shadow Dash. So unfortunate.
Yeah. Oh, a lot of action in the bot lane. We're gonna have to hold on a second.
3 coming in here, the bot lane. Roasting My Toasty not getting hit by Crazy Braze's ultimate combo. Well, not ultimate, but EQ. Ignite going down into Deconstruct, going to discourage him from staying in the lane as Night Vision-y, the substitute mid laner, by the way, in case anyone was confused, roams down. That was just unfortunate. I think Crazy Brazy is showing inexperience on this Jarvan, and I'm wondering why it was picked.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a very strong pick, don't get me wrong.
Well, they banned out their own Vi, which, you know, and Sejuani was banned, so I don't know if that's taking down the pull a little bit more so, but...
Nashimite coming out again. The ultimate not going to be enough to kill him, but the follow-up autos might be the bleed, might be enough. Cleanse burned in the mid lane as Fevi tries to get out. Looks like King Ebolt did not go down in the top lane, barely surviving, but he's staying under tower. Perhaps not the best play without that teleport available.
Yeah, and the reason King Ebolt didn't die to that bleed, which looked like it was almost going to surely get the kill, is because of that Shen passive. He casted the E to get further away from Darius, and that gave Shen the passive, which gives some extra shielding value.
Mm-hmm.
So, passive coming in pretty clutch to counter the other passive.
Oh, another fight coming out. This time, King Ebolt doesn't have a chance to fight back.
Yeah, and I think that at this point, you might want to back as Ebolt or Shen, because you're staying up here very low against that Darius, and you know his ulti is about halfway off of cooldown, which is a long time. So yes, he doesn't have as much kill pressure, but he still has a decent amount. I mean, you know, if he can get onto you with all that movement speed he has.
Oh, he lands the EQ. Deconstruct in a little bit of trouble. Stand United coming down. Deconstruct did just hit 6. King Ebolt missing the Shadow Dash. Engage coming in with the Elastic Slingshot. Will Crazy be able to get out? It doesn't look like it at this point. First blood, or second blood rather, might be coming down. Oh my god, Fevi! Dude, that was great. The auto not quite being enough, and he's in trouble himself now. Getting Shadow Dashed on the ultimate from Veigar. Not quite going to kill him. Night Vision, he trying to go for the chase. Will he get it? It looks like he will not. 3v2. Everyone gets out alive with very low health bars. That was nuts.
Nigeria, you said that was great from Fevi. I think what you didn't see was that the damage onto Deconstruct and Ebolt was a Lux E, and the ultimate did not actually hit them.
I called it as the ultimate was coming out, and then I saw it afterwards, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
It's so sad to watch.
That ultimate not connecting from Fevi means that 2 kills that were almost guaranteed, they basically were guaranteed, just went bye-bye. I mean, they were CC'd by the amazing Q that Fevi landed. That is so disappointing to see that, you know, a CC target was missed by a skill shot.
I've been there. We've all been there.
It feels bad. It feels bad.
It is. It's just a really sad time.
But
We're
I mean,
involved because they're like, we got out. I mean, I guess that kind of feels good, but
yeah. Something to note though is that these CS leads in the top lane, 20 CS to Arcane, and in the mid lane,
Bartholomew in a lot of trouble here, having to flash out already. The ultimate coming in from Nami. The Monsoon under tower from SKTT1 Nami. Janna getting incredibly low. Bartholomew Cal gonna fall down to that Bio-Arcane Barrage. Or Living Artillery, sorry. Bio-Arcane Barrage not up for Roasting My Toasty, or Larnell might have fallen as well.
Yeah, now, SKTT1 Nami did die in that gank, which is very unfortunate, but I don't think of the fault of her own completely. Roasty My Toasty actually healed Deconstruct by accident, I think. The heal was on Deconstruct. I think it was I hope it was an accident. Or else it's just spitting in the face of Nami, but... Or, I guess Janna. I'm going to say Janna because this is going to get too confusing otherwise.
It is.
But, I mean, that's not great. You always want to use heal before Ignite comes through. And since Liarnil took the ignite on that Nami and ignited Janna, who is SKTT1 Nami. If you would have healed earlier and healed the right target, that Janna would still be alive right now.
Oh, Crazy coming in for the gang, missing the EQ, but can't miss the Cataclysm, flashing out from Night's Visioning. The ultimate gonna land, but not enough damage. Comet, not quite enough to get the kill. So close.
Yeah, and I mean, now we do see a decent gold lead in favor of Brain Cells Mia. It's about 1k at this point, which a little under 1k, thanks to that kill on that Shen, which really is helping out because there's a 200 gold lead for this Darius, and that's with the kill on the Shen. Imagine how much it would be otherwise. And I mean, that really does suck for Arcane because it was a slight misplay that gave up a kill and gave the Shen a fighting chance in this top lane, but still, we see, you know, pretty good laning coming out from the side of Brain Cells Mia again.
Yeah, they're showing a little bit of a lead in every lane at this point, except for the bottom lane, but that was because of the 3-man gank down there. We'll see if it turns around a little bit. Bartholomew Cow is 6, which allows him a lot of playmaking potential, but Liarnil almost getting taken out there by the living artillery. It's gonna pop him, and Roasty My Toasty in a little bit of trouble maybe from Bartholomew Cow, who's gonna try and get out now. Was going on to the engage, but smartly backing out. Oh no, he's in trouble again. He blew his heel and he got taken out. Monsoon gonna be enough to keep Roasty nice and healthy. Q going wide from Fevy, and now Fevy is 1v2 against this incredibly scary Kog'Maw. Crazy Brazy making it a 2v2, missing the EQ combo. SKTT1 Nami on this Janna, about to escape for free. Q going a little bit wide.
Oh, again, Crazy Brazy. You almost always want to ult or EQ in front of them, and EQ's behind SKTT1 Nami, just going completely wide. And I mean, if you EQ'd in front of her, at least you could auto her. At least you could use that W in that melee range and slow, making it easier for Lux's abilities to land. I don't think this is going to turn into anything, although the mid laners are collapsing.
Oh,
Hold on.
it
You
might
have to
be
keep an eye on
now.
this jungle exchange.
Fevy missing the light binding, EQ being missed by Crazy Brazy. Crazy Brazy not gonna
He does have the
fall.
Cataclysm.
Oh, Cataclysm onto 2. This is a great move. The stun from the Condemn goes down. Bartholomew Cow gonna get no kills, but gets an assist. So, like, that's cool. Oh, could it turn into more of a fight? I don't think anyone wants that.
And no, Bartholomew did get the finishing blow on that Zac. Because whoever hits the last blob gets the kill, not the person who whacks him into it. And so that means that this Vayne will actually have a decent chunk of gold, which is very needed against a 3-0 Kog'Maw who has already completed that Rage Blade.
Yeah, and Kog'Maw still has that stopwatch, which is going to be a concern in the later stages of the game because if my experience is anything to go by, and it really shouldn't be, but if it is, you're going to forget that he has stopwatch until he uses it to save himself from what was surely a kill. Having that still up and not blown means that the gank potential from Crazy Brazy is going to be even lower than it was before. If he lands an EQ, if he lands the Cataclysm, it might not be enough because SKTT1 Nami could get the Monsoon, could get the Howling Gale, while Roasty My Toasty is in stasis. And then he'll save himself, and that's the reason Stopwatch slows down LCK so much. It allows you to sort of disable enemy plays, and that's something they're going to have to watch out for if they want to fight this Kog'Maw.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of stopwatch, Lux still has her stopwatch in that mid lane, as well as that cleanse, which I don't know if we've even seen it used once yet.
Once. Exactly once.
Okay. Alright. So we've seen it used already. I'm not saying it's wrong that she hasn't used it. It's very respectful, and I agree with it completely taking it here. It's just, maybe she could posture a little more aggressively because of, you know, having it. But I mean, she's doing pretty well on this Lux anyways, so... Fevy doing good. Thumbs up.
Yeah, and still a gold lead for Brain Cells Mia just because of the superior laning so far, which is...
It has dwindled quite a bit though. I mean, with those
Down to
kills on that
100,
Kog'Maw,
500.
yeah, it's actually pretty dead even right now. Maybe 100, less than 100 separating them. And I mean, if we see where this gold is on, Kog'Maw has a 400 gold lead over Vayne. We see Lux has a 300 gold lead.
Top lane getting a little bit dicey here.
Yeah.
Crazy. What are you... Dude,
Okay.
hello? I mean, that was a cool Janna ult and all, but hello?
Okay. That
Well,
happened.
moral of the story, wait for your laners.
Yeah,
Uh,
and also don't jump headfirst into a Kog'Maw right next to a Janna, especially when that Kog'Maw has Rage Blade 4-0 at 16 minutes.
lots of lessons to be learned here today. Engage coming down. Liarnal tries to stop it with the Nami ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. Bartholomew flashing away, safely preventing the rest of the fight, but they're going to lose that tower for sure. They might lose the second one. Fevy trying to come down and get something done, but I don't think he'll be able to. His bot lane is so far behind at this point compared to that Kog'Maw, who's just an absolute monster. They have no way to get onto him. I mean, technically they do in Crazy Brazy, but he has not landed a single EQ this game. Okay, he's landed one. He has landed a single EQ this game, and is not just a reliable way to get onto that Kog'Maw, which is a big concern for Brain Cells Mia, because it looks like they might live up to their name this game,
Yeah,
and that's not what you want.
they have just shown up. They haven't shown up this game. They're actually Mia. 3 kills to 6, and their gold lead is gone from that early game, which is very disappointing to see. And Fevy missing skill shots again. We're seeing a lot of missed skill shots from the side of Brain Cells Mia.
Redemption almost saving Deconstruct. The ultimate's there. I don't think that was the right way to go about things, but I guess it got the kill.
Yeah, both junglers this game have been doing some really questionable plays, going very aggressive with their jumps forward. The Zac slingshot and the Jarvan flag and drag respectively. But I think that these players need to be playing more so around their winning laners. You have Fevy Flames Dark, who's doing pretty well in that mid lane on that Lux. And then on the flip side, for Taco Bell, you have Roasty My Toasty, who's 4-0 on Kog'Maw with a Janna. You want to be playing around that. You want to be, making sure that's snowballed. And setting him in this bottom lane isn't really a great idea, honestly. With that bottom trait down, you could rotate Kog'Maw Janna up to that top lane, play for that top trait, play for that Rift Herald. Worst case scenario, you lose a tower or a Cloud Drake. I mean, they're not being proactive with their play, and instead kind of just letting their lead slide a little bit, which you don't want to be doing. I mean, they do scale up extremely well with a Kog'Maw, but at the same time, Vayne Nami is a lot of damage, and at any moment, this Kog'Maw can be blown up.
Crazy Brazy. In a crazy amount of trouble. Fadeaway Q from Deconstruct. And that's going to be the Cloud Drake taken soon for Taco Bell. I see no way that this can be contested without a severe loss of life for Brain Cells Mia. So Cloud Drake going down at 19 minutes. A little bit late, but doesn't really matter all that much because they don't need it. They have a 4-0-1 Kog'Maw. They don't need anything else.
The only reason to take that Drake is because your team is ahead and you want the next Drake to spawn. And the next Drake will be an Infernal Drake, so it definitely was worth taking to, have that next Drake spawn up. But that is kind of a committed, exchange. You're taking something for the chance at getting something in 6 minutes, right? So, they will most likely get that Drake with how ahead they are at this point, and with how strong that Kog'Maw is. I mean, even 4v5, they could probably take it, but unlikely situation where that will happen.
Hopefully unlikely.
I mean, stuff does happen in games that make you scratch your head a little bit.
We've seen crazier.
Yeah, and we've also seen Brazier.
Yeah. Fevy did burn that flash in the mid lane, as you guys may have seen the flyby gank from Deconstruct enough to blow flash. So Fevy needed to play a little bit more carefully. Still does have the cleanse, but this mid lane lead not meaning so much anymore. The top lane lead really just hasn't meant anything ever because Shen is
now
just so
hold on. Look at this Jarvan positioning.
Cataclysm going down, Monsoon to answer. Well, sorry, everyone.
Flash Apprehend.
I want to Flash Apprehend coming out. Stand United going to follow. Roasting My Toasty going to chase down onto Arcane 93, getting caught by the Shadow Dash. He needs to get out of there if he can, but he's instead going to go on, trying to get the ultimate. He gets the shutdown onto that Kog'Maw. He's going to heal up, but it's not enough. Night Vision ET1 going to get him with the ultimate. Liarnal in trouble here, about to fall down. Shadow Dash going to be enough to take it out. And that was a crazy set of trades, 2 for 2, but a shutdown onto that incredibly important Kog'Maw.
Yeah, and they really needed to rotate Bartholomew Cow up to the top side. Because they didn't, they lose this fight. And, you know, I mean, Arcane might have been in that bot side, and they might have, you know, not won a fight anyways, but you don't want to just have your ADC kind of in that side lane for forever. It does, however, have some kind of payoff where Vayne does get farm, which is very important because Vayne needs to get those crit items so she can just delete people, right? There is a Spirit's Refuge from that Shen, but if Vayne can get strong enough, she can realistically, with that press the attack, 3-shot people, or maybe just 4-shot if she needs that 1 extra auto. Hopefully even less autos will be needed, but Kog'Maw also, I want to mention, has stopwatch.
Yeah, crazy. You're living up to your name, buddy.
Yeah, being really aggressive on this Jarvan. It did pay off in the last fight. He did get the kill on Najana, although the fight afterwards was a little bit hectic.
He did, but he also had support at that point. He keeps going into these, what he assumes are picks, but there's 2 or 3 people behind whoever he's going on to. And even beside that, we saw that one not so great engage in the bottom lane where he went 1v2 onto a Kog'Maw Janna. You're not fed. You don't have Duskblade. You don't have Ghostblade. You don't have a lot of lethality.
Okay,
You have
hold on a
Black Clover
second
Warrior.
here.
It's
Crazy
not enough to
Brazy.
assassinate.
We're gonna have to look at something else from him for a second. Ninja Tabbies against Shen, Zac, Veigar, Kog'Maw, Janna. Ninja Tabbies.
Good against Kog'Maw, but that's about it.
Yeah, 2 of his teammates built Merc Treads. I don't know why this wasn't kind of said to the whole team. And, you know, if he didn't know, could have asked. That information was readily available as his team knew.
Great condemned stun there onto the Zac. Zac being taken out in short order here. Probably going to feed that kill onto Bartholomew. Yep, absolutely. He's 2-2-2 now. 201 CS. He might be able to fight Roasty McToasty. Arcane 93 going in, and it looks like Bartholomew Cow is coming up to try and help him. Is he going to give Arcane the heal? He's not, but he's going to go in by himself. SKT T1 Nami about to fall, gets splashed on, and will finally die. Roasty McToasty following Yarnell with that great ultimate to steal the kill from his AD carry. I respect it, buddy. That's a good one. We don't call it KSing. Well, we do. It's just kill securing. Knight going to try and get the kill onto Crazy Brazy, not quite going to get it. Bartholomew Cow coming in with that incredible Vayne damage, not going to be enough to save himself before he goes down, but will get Knight there, and the top tower falls in short order.
Yeah, and this is what we mentioned, you know, Vayne getting those crit items, being able to get to a point where she's able to just 3-shot people, or maybe just a few autos more than that, depending on the target. And that's what's happening. Blew up SKT-T1 Nami through the Janna ulti with no kinds of grievous wounds applied. And just immediately destroyed Kog'Maw afterwards. This is what Vayne can do. She can play around with the stealth, dodge out auto attacks, and get a lot of damage through. And, I mean, as long as that's the case, Roasty McToasty might have more damage output, you know, in just like a one-on-one scenario, just autoing continuously. But that's still able to break those auto attacks from the Kog'Maw. And that crit damage that's coming out in those bursts are what's winning these fights against him.
Like you said, it's the critical damage that is, well, fittingly critical here. Because Kog'Maw is very powerful. And once he gets a few autos going, he's almost unstoppable because he puts out so much damage in an AoE to tanks, to squishies, to everyone. But the power of Vayne is that in 3 really quick successive hits, just auto Q, auto condemn even, she'll do 80 to 90% of your health. And that's where the danger comes in this Kog'Maw versus Janna matchup. And we see Crazy going in again with these weird engages by himself. He doesn't have flash, so he can't flash out. He's using his stopwatch, but it's not going to be enough to save him. Bartholomew Cow coming in with the ultimate, going to try and go onto SKT T1 Nami here, but Stand United coming out. Bartholomew Cow getting hit up by the elastic slingshot, but narrowly dodging the shadow dash. He's out safely. He no longer has ultimate, and Arcane is by himself in this fight, but Roasty gets caught on the backside, gets ignited and taken down in short order. Bartholomew Cow not able to re-enter the fight just yet. He's coming in. King Ebolt has the Darius passive ticking, but it looks like no more chase is going to come down. Kog'Maw got taken out. Jarvan got taken out. That's a win for Brain Cells Mia.
Yeah, and I mean, this is pretty sad to see, but Kog'Maw is getting out damaged really hard by this Vayne. And realistically, the only way to win fights now is with King Ebolt to immediately either Spirit's Refuge onto that Kog'Maw or be there already. So sorry, Stand United onto the Kog'Maw or be there already to Spirit's Refuge the Kog'Maw, which I don't even know if Stand United is enough to shield. Through all the Janna shielding and the Janna healing, Roasty My Toasty is still dying, so Stand United might not even be enough on its own. He might need to be right there for Spirit's Refuge, and that will prevent Vayne from killing people. This Shen is kind of going to be able to single-handedly stop Vayne's damage with that W, but there is, you know, you can play around that long cooldown on that W. You can, you know, always just kind of have a split push going and force King Ebolt to answer to that. And it's a really hard situation right here for Taco Bell Esports because they need that Shen to be able to answer that Darius, but they also need that Shen to stand next to the Kog'Maw to protect him and make sure he stays alive.
Yeah, and Darius, as you were saying, he's needed to stop Darius because Darius was just getting passive procs on Shen actually, and that allows him to go in on the backline if he so chooses. Looks like another engage is going to come out, the TP into the mid lane. Not going to be able to quite get on. Oh, the EQ, he lands it onto SKTT1 Nami. Janna falling very quickly. Crazy Brazy almost dead, but not quite down because Roasty did not get the kill. And the dunk coming out from Arcane 93 frees up this fight for Bartholomew Cow to go out and do some damage. The ultimate from Night Vision not going to be enough. King Ebolt using the Spurs Refuge to try and save himself and the other player, but King Ebolt going to fall. It's going to be an ace. 2 kills going to Arcane, at least 1 going to Bartholomew Cow, and it looks like they might go for the mid tower, and then they can follow on to Baron or reverse order. It doesn't matter. Everyone's dead.
Yeah. Here, I think they could grab the mid tower first because there is no, you know, person who can steal it if they were to just take it and then back off to the Baron. But just grabbing the Baron here is always going to be a decent choice. At the very least, they're going to safely get this and be able to push with it afterwards. And we see this composition from Brain Cells Mia is actually working out for them. You know, we were expecting this to just... They were doing okay in the early game, but they started falling really behind, and we were just like, okay, Kog'Maw is scaling. He's going to be too hard to kill. But Bartholomew Cow, single-handedly deleting carries from these fights, is securing this game for them, and it looks like that they might be able to take it at this point.
Yeah, and more important than looking at sort of who's strong now is noticing how the power has been changing throughout this game, because as you were saying, they had a lead in the early game. Brain Cells Mia had like a 400 lead, and then it dwindled to 100, and then suddenly they were behind like 1 or 2,000 gold. But look at it now, they're 7k ahead. That Kog'Maw for Taco Bell, that hard rock upon which they were basing their entire team fight, from 4-0-1 to 4-4-3. Whereas Bartholomew Cal, the Vayne who was supposedly shut down at 1-2-2, is now 7-3-5. It's been a huge swing in favor of Brain Cells Mia, and I don't know if Taco Bell can stop the momentum at this point.
Yeah,
It's
and I mean,
looking
it
good.
really will be hard to. The only options right now I see are Night Vision-y, and Roasty My Toasty, both focusing down Bartholomew Cow and blowing him up, because there's a lot of healing for Bartholomew. Oh.
Cataclysm onto 1. You know, I've doubted his engages before, but they keep getting him wins for his team, so I think I'm just going to stop doing it and let him do his thing. Although that was a bad Cataclysm. Oh,
Yeah.
Lightning going wide, but it's enough to zone them off of that tier 2 tower.
And remember how we mentioned that the Cloud Drake was taken? Which, oh my lord.
That's a lot of damage. Final spark, not going to be enough, but the auto from Bartholomew Cow will finish him off. Fevy getting ulted, but that's an ultimate that is not going to be used on Bartholomew Cow, who is now going crazy in the enemy team's backline. Night Vision trying to get away, but not quite able. Getting taken out, Bartholomew Cow following with the Zac kill. The ultimate is popping from Kog'Maw, but it's not going to be enough to take down the Vayne until it is. But then it's 4 dead versus 3 dead. Crazy Brazy and Liarnal might be able to get something off this, but at this point, I don't think so. Bartholomew was playing really well, but maybe a little too close to the Kog'Maw while he had all those stacks up. Still,
Yeah, and I think that was an unofficial quadra kill. The first kill on the Janna did not count towards that. So that was 4 kills going over to that Vayne right there. Right there. And I mean, with hold on, maybe a little bit overstaying here.
Ooh. We'll top him. Support. Crazy Brazy getting out with a great EQ.
Yeah.
He's pulling the Meteor stratagem. The 50 minutes to mastery.
Yeah, learning the champion in one game. And I mean, we do see this Jarvan having a lot more effect now. It is a bit interesting to see how offensively Crazy Brazy did itemize, you know, going for that Black Cleaver into a GA. You know, GA and Black Cleaver obviously both providing some defensive stats, but also the Warrior enchant, you know, definitely was looking to burst down targets, and it is helping out against that Kog'Maw. You know, any bit of damage does help prevent that damage dart from sticking around. So
I think I
while
still
it,
would have liked to see a Duskblade earlier, because if you're looking to
yeah,
pop
I mean,
someone, that's the go-to item.
I think that might be going a little too hard in for it, though. I think that this is a nice mix between tankiness and damage. I think that he was initially looking to just go damage and then burst the Kog'Maw himself, but then Vayne started doing well, and he's like, well, I'll still have some damage, but I'm still also going to be tanky enough with the Black Cleaver and the GA just in case I do die, which he did a little bit of that in the beginning of the game. Substantially less now.
Infernal Drake's second one going down to Brain Cells Mia. They do have an 8k gold lead. This is getting... Well, it's been pretty scary for Taco Bell, if we're being honest. And it doesn't look like it's easing up anytime soon. Roasty was able to finally... Oh, the Flash EQ missing again. Cataclysm is available. Rage Cage going down, hitting nobody.
Yeah, and I mean, not a great Cataclysm, or sorry, not a great EQ from the Jarvan. Again, Burning Flash for basically an auto on Veigar. Not amazing.
No, it is not. But if they don't get punished for it, it's not that terrible of a mistake. But not having Flash is one of those things that Jarvan is pretty easily punished for. Roasty My Toasty has those Ginsu stacks going, so I don't think Bartholomew Cow wants to stay in that bottom lane. He can't quite shove it in hard enough to threaten the Kog'Maw just yet.
Yeah, and I really do like what Shen did here. He itemized for the Knight's Vow, which is purely just to keep this Kog'Maw alive. And that's really what they need to be doing in these fights, keeping Kog'Maw alive. Honestly, Zac could have even went for a Knight's Vow himself. I'm really disappointed to not see a single locket coming out. I really do think Zac should have went for that, because he doesn't need to stay alive. An extra, you know, effective 1000 HP on him isn't going to make a difference. What he needs to do is keep that Kog'Maw alive. And, you know, building health against Vayne, it doesn't even do that much, because she does true damage too.
Crazy Bray's in a little bit of trouble. Oh, Bartholomew Cow going for the assassination, but he didn't take out the tower. I was wondering to myself why the tower had not gone down at that point, and we're seeing what the problem is here. They had a plan, and they executed on it without really putting any thought into it around it. Night Vision-y, little bit low, but it's not going to matter because Arcane's going to fall here, almost certainly, trying to get as much as he can out of it. He might be able to escape with Phase Rush, actually. That would be embarrassing.
Yeah.
Last shot, not gonna... Yep, he's going to make it.
That's a dead man plate Black Cleaver phase rush Darius. Black Cleaver will proc on his passive for the movement speed, and he will just zoom right out of there. And add to that dead man's plate plus the phase rush proc in that fight. He is going really fast.
Yeah, I think these fights are just going so weirdly, and they don't need to, is the thing. And I'm wondering...
Yeah, Bartholomew
Why
Cow
Philly
just
telling
tanking
Crazy
turret
Brave-
there was kind of inexcusable, right? You're the Fed hypercarry on that Vayne. You
Right.
cannot be dying and being caught out in those positions for free.
Why is nobody telling Jarvan just, hey, chill, relax a little bit, wait for us this time? Because that's really the problem here. I feel like it was a miscommunication there, and that engaged in the bottom lane, and that lost them so much momentum. And they can't really afford to be doing that. Yeah, they have a Vayne, but guess what? The enemy team has a Kog'Maw. Guess what? The enemy team has a Veigar. Guess what? They have ways to stop your Vayne. Don't let them stall. You need to be putting on the pressure and keeping it on. And so far, they're just kind of letting it waffle. And that's going to be a huge problem. Crazy getting poked out a little bit. Going to survive. Recovering up with those plants in the river. I don't know. I'm little concerned to see this team fight coming up if I were Brain Cells Mia, but if I were Taco Bell, I'd be looking forward to it, honestly.
Yeah, now Brain Cells Mia does have the double Infernal Drake, so they're going to be doing a lot of damage, especially that Vayne. She currently has 288 attack damage, with triple crit items, as well as having that extra on hit damage from the Bork and her silver bolts. She is just going to be shredding people at that full build point. She does not currently have a red pot, so she does have a little more damage she could be irking out, except for possibly a Baron or another dragon adding to that. And speaking of another dragon, Elder Dragon is spawning in 1 minute 30 seconds. So if anything does happen in the next minute or so, that will possibly have longer lasting consequences.
Well, they saw them back off, and they assumed it was time to go for the Baron. Redemption coming into the pit from the enemy team. Brain Cells Mia has a few
The
on
jungler's
Baron,
not there!
so will it get stolen? Oh no! Night Vision going crazy, getting Fevy, and Crazy Braze has some engaged going on. Bartholomew Cow surviving somehow. King Ebalt not able to stop him, and it looks like Janna is taken out as well. Zac falling finally in that passive. A lot of ultimates blown, and it's an ace for one. That is a ridiculous fight.
That might be the game. It looks like it.
Almost certainly there is a Baron buff. There is 30 seconds on the lowest timer on the board. Not even 30 seconds now.
Yeah,
So this is almost certainly going to be game.
Everything just went sour. First of all, Crazy Brazy on that Jarvan, when the call was to finish the Baron, and it looked like the majority of the team was finishing that Baron, jumps in on that Jarvan, and is out of smite range when in GA. And then Deconstruct almost steals it, but miss smites.
Yeah, it's just Flash Heal showing a little bit extra BM. They were executing so weirdly and so poorly. And then that last fight, everything just went wrong for Taco Bell. Everyone got blown up, exploded. Ultimates were flying left and right. And at the end of it, Bartholomew Cow had not been focused down. Bartholomew Cow was still able to auto, got that Zac in the passive. Darius, Arcane 93, popping off again, able to get those ultimate chains going. And it was enough supplementary damage alongside Fevy's AoE slows, binds, and pretty impressive damage in his own right. It ended up being enough to clean sweep that team fight. So 2-0 for Brain Cells Mia. Their hubris, their a little bit of BM paid off for them, it seemed.
Yeah, they just purely solo queued that game to victory, and they just had a Vayne who would just destroy people in those team fights. Vayne, with Anami enhancing her, is going to be extremely mobile and have a very high burst damage, especially with the 3 autos, with that Nami E, with that Vayne passive proccing. It can just destroy a single target immediately.
Yeah, so we saw the Vayne just get a little bit too out of hand, but that's going to wrap it up for us here. Brain Cells Mia taking it 2-0 over Taco Bell is authentic Mexican food. Great name. Weren't quite able to pull out a win this time, but fairly close game that time instead of the larger gap last game. As that is the last game of the night, end of the weekend, we want to thank you all for coming out and watching us. We're so excited to have you as viewers. We're so excited to have the players. Thank you to everyone. And if you're wondering where you can find more of this Learning Fives action, I'll go a little easy on the plugs because I know there was some great games. You want to watch the Super Bowl maybe, but it's probably over, isn't it? Like, I don't know. Anyways, you can follow the Twitch, which you'll find is the giant purple follow button. If you're looking to find us on other media, you can find us on Twitter, listed in the Twitch description below, as well as our Discord channel. If you want to join for next session, it'll be coming up in, I think, about 4 weeks. So you can look forward to it then. In the meantime, we have more show matches coming next weekend, up to 4. So keep an eye out in both the Discord, or maybe just keep that follower notification handy. Have a wonderful night from both myself and Meowing Cat.